Hello everyone, welcome to Urbanscape Bangalore. And in this episode, we will look at some peace lily blooming tips I have observed over the years. This will cover both the indoor and outdoor peace lily blooming, and if you want to see an overall peace lily care and propagation video, you can click the link above. So peace lily, or the spathiphyllum as you know, is majorly grown for their beautiful white blooms. Though the leaves are great to look at, they are definitely not the only thing we want to see in this plant. So I have divided this into various aspects of observations I've made and will tell you the secret behind a flourishing blooming peace lily. In definite order of importance, we have top tip number 1, sunlight and brightness. Now let's talk about outdoor peace lily. Now, if the plant is kept in a balcony that faces the west or east or even filtered south direction, they tend to put out more blooms, and trust me, I never fertilize my outdoor peace lily, and with just this light that it receives, it blooms like this. So the next time, don't ask what fertilizer one must give their peace lily, but ask how much sunlight the plant needs. This is indeed the defining factor. Now let's talk about indoor peace lily. Now this is where most of you find it hard to make your peace lily bloom profusely. Indoors, mostly you can expect a measly number of blooms, but a majority of you don't even find one. So the trick here is to position the plant in the brightest corner of your home, preferably the south or the west. Avoid north, especially if there is a building nearby or the space just outside the window is not open enough to the vastness of the sky. Tip number 2, watering. Water is of course important for any plant's survival and well-being, but I would still have this in number 2 position only because in comparison, sunlight dwarfs watering when it comes to its blooming prowess. So with watering, as the cliched garden YouTuber saying goes, don't over or underwater your plant. Watering definitely depends on the seasonal shift, so let's use binaries here and talk of summer and winter watering. Summer watering. Outdoor peace lily needs more water than indoor ones since they have to brave a higher rate of evaporation. So water your outdoor peace lilies every day, and your indoor peace lilies can be watered once the soil becomes slightly dry. Don't wait for the soil to go bone dry because these are no succulents. Winter. Peace lilies tend to go dormant mostly during the winter months, so water sparingly during winter when it comes to your outdoorsy ones. The indoorsy plants must be watered once the soil is quite dry to touch. Overwatering must be avoided at any cost during winter, and trust me, keeping a schedule of watering for your plants is the wrong way to go. Watering is always and will always be about the amount of water the soil is holding at the end of the day. Use this so-called watering schedule as a mental clock to remind you to water, but when you ultimately decide to water, always check the soil wetness. That is my mantra. Tip number 3, fertilizer. Outdoor peace lily. The falling leaves etc. anyway act as fertilizer in this case, but you can just use compost or banana peels during the summer months. Now, indoor peace lilies may need additional reinforcements in the form of fertilizers. So I would recommend 2 drops of seaweed solution in a liter of water and add it to the soil once every month during summer. Avoid compost for your indoor plants as much as possible. For instant results, you can also add chemical fertilizers like DAP crystals if needed, and don't sprinkle them near the roots but away from it. You can do this once every month again during summer. Now the final frontier and the last tip or the last observation with this plant has been repotting. Now, I've noticed the peace lily when pot-bound growing stunted leaves, and that in turn also produces lesser blooms that are stunted too. Now you can see this peace lily and these 2 peace lilies are the same. I had repotted them in one of my earlier videos. The link is added above and you can watch that. And here you can clearly see the marked difference. The ones that have been repotted are lush and have borne so many blooms, and the one that isn't repotted still has not produced blooms or has blooms very sparingly. So, a pro tip is that when you see the leaves are stunted and the pot is completely covered without an inch of soil visible, it means the plant needs repotting. I'm calling this stunted because when I bought this plant, it had bigger leaves, and as days went by, it started receding in foliar size. Now, the leaf size will also tell you when not to repot. So, with indoor peace lilies, I've noticed that they grow leaves more slowly than the outdoor ones, and I've noticed this with my variegated peace lily, which, when kept outdoors, has given out more leaves than when it was indoors. So, if at all you still want that lush foliar growth indoors, what you can do is that you can grow your shop bought peace lilies in your balcony or any shaded outdoor space. And once you see the plant has grown bigger, lusher leaves, and if you're lucky, more blooms, then bring it indoors during the summer months only, around February end or so, or whenever your region experiences warmth. As an add on, let me tell you that deadheading old blooms will re energize the plant and give you more blooms, as is the case normally with other plants. If you want to learn more about leaf issues, burning, etc., I have an old video that you can watch. So, with this episode, I hope I've given you some useful tips that will help you grow these peaceful, serpentine white blooms. And with this, we've come to the end of yet another episode of Urbanscape Bangalore, and I really hope you enjoyed this particular program. Additionally, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links are given below. And always remember, to grow slow is to grow well. Until we meet again, a very warm goodbye.